Hey folks, Michael Sheena here. Today we have the Chevy Volt, and the folks at General Motors have been kind enough to loan me this car for half a day, so I've taken it up here to the Angeles National Forest to give it a spin. It's a pretty enjoyable drive. As you can see, it's a nice little ribbon of a road here, and for being a car designed for fuel efficiency, it still has a pretty sporty demeanor about it, and driving it on a road like this was a enjoyable experience. If we just take a look at some of the features of the car here, of course, you do have in terms of practicality, the ability, obviously with the head rests down, to fold those out flat to give you some decent carrying capacity when you consider that you're hauling around a nice pack of batteries, plus essentially 2 power plants. That's a pretty tidy little package. I, of course, got it adjusted for my comfort in the front, so when we get in the back here, knee room is pretty tight. But again, I've optimized it for myself and nobody else. It'd be easy enough to split the middle. In the back, of course, along here you've got the tunnel, but cup holder, PowerPoint, and a lot of just monochromatic plastic. It's got a nice woven type headliner here. You can see this shade printed into the glass to help keep you cool, because obviously the sun's going to be batting down on you. Certainly the car saves its real tricks for the front seat. When we look at the dash here, they've gone certainly with a futuristic look with these touch sensitive controls. So basically you just press in an area and you're taken to that screen. And the screen is also touch sensitive. So for example, if we go to climate, we can adjust things. For example, Eco splits the difference between maximum comfort and using whatever is necessary to keep you comfortable, and the best fuel efficiency. Fan only, as it says, only the fan. It's going to help you with your mileage, but you might get a little warmer if it's a hot day, or you might stay a little cooler if it's a cold day. On cars with the heated seats, you can also go into an automatic mode where the heated seat will kick in to help you stay warm without having to heat the whole car. I don't know if you heard that, but the motor just kicked in. We've been sitting here for a little bit. Of course, your parking brake is here. Electronic parking brake. Just set it. When you drive away, it'll automatically release. You can actually hear the motor whirring a little bit. That's, of course, how you turn on the car. Your drive mode. Right now we're in sport, where I've left things for most of the day, but it does have also normal and mountain modes. But I haven't spent much time in either. I did test the mountain mode a little bit. You can definitely tell as the engine revs up and is kicking in there, along with regenerative braking. But for the most part, I find that sport mode is the most enjoyable for a road like this. And when you're going down the hill, just drop the transmission down into low. If we look at what we've achieved here, this car was given to me with only about 20 miles left on the charge. Right now it shows you the power flow. Of course, we're not moving, but If we go to the next phase, you can see that it needs to be charged, as I've drained the battery. And if you have just plugging it into your wall, it's going to take you to 8:30. But if you plug into one of the fast chargers, by 1:15, you'd be back in action. This is the most interesting section. This shows you on this particular drive what has contributed to my usage of energy. My driving style and my climate setting. Obviously, I've set the climate in comfort, and I'm not worried so much about maximizing efficiency when it comes to turning off the AC or something like that. Under energy usage, it shows you since this car was charged that we got 46.1 out of the battery pack. We've gone 36 on gas for a total of 82 miles. We've used a little under 1.5 gallons of gas for an average of 59.5. If you go here, the car will lecture you on how to improve your driving efficiency, how to set the climate control system to optimize your mileage. A lot of this is obviously no-brainer type stuff. And keeping your car plugged in when you can. For me, the Volt, as I had mentioned, is an enjoyable drive on a road like this, whereas a Prius might be more of a chore. You do get the feeling as you're driving in this car that it is a groundbreaker. This is something entirely new, and in many ways a wave of the future. As battery technology improves and we're able to extend the range, and we can even reduce the size of the motor generator less, realistically we can wean ourselves away from fossil fuels, at least in terms of putting it into a tank in your car. You may still use fossil fuels at a generation facility, but this car really sets the bar now for others to follow, of getting that realistic 40 miles on battery alone, which is going to take care of most of your day-to-day. And then when you want to take a vacation, when you want to come up to a place like this, you don't have to worry about, well, I've got to rent a car or I have to use another car because I know that my all-electric vehicle won't make it and back. You can just simply enjoy the ride. And that's the freedom that this car affords you. Overall, the IP stack is a little bit of a learning curve. I don't know that it's something that really wows me. I'm just as happy with traditional controls to get to the same goal. You're going to be staring at this for a little while before you figure everything out. Once you do, it's fine, but as you can see, it's all pretty much in one font. You do have a few pictograms to show you some important functions. Otherwise, it's small font that you're going to have to kind of stare at when you're learning the car to figure out how to get that going. Having the touchscreen, of course, is nice because you can just stab at the screen instead of pressing buttons for a lot of different functions. Overall, there's some softish touch plastic here, some kind of unique looking design to the top of the dash to break up the monotony of the top dash pad. If you were to simply judge this car in terms of, hey, it costs $40,000 and these are the interior materials, you may say, boy. But you have to keep in mind what you're really paying for here is the technology, with a cabin that is certainly well screwed together by all means. No rattles or anything like that in this car that I've driven today. But compared to what else your $40,000 might be able to buy you in not such a technologically advanced car, obviously you would get a little bit more. But that's a trade-off that you're making here. This car has already run several Motor Trend Car of the Year, Automobile of the Year. I have a feeling it's going to rake in a lot more of awards. GM really has thought this car through. You can tell just by driving it and interacting with it that they have gone above and beyond to engineer it and work out the kinks. Obviously, as we get into production, some minor flaws may show up, but they certainly have sweated the details here on this car, and you can tell it. Overall, I give this car a high recommendation for what it is. You are paying a price premium, of course, for such technology. Once you drain the battery after the 40 miles, the car reverts back to around 30 or some odd miles per gallon, which is obviously not that stellar of a number, but realistically what you're looking at here is that you've got that 40-mile electric range.